Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation. God, what we open in the pathways. We change what we look at things we look at change. Said the people in heaven to earth. God's I came from the bottom to the top, yeah. And I did it in the face of my ops, yeah. Closest ones to you be the ones hating on you most. Be the ones holding you back. You gotta let it go. But sometimes God will hold blessings till you ready. And you won't receive what you need dealing with petty friends from the past that never believe your destiny. They used by the devil to block off relentlessly all that was meant for you, all that was meant to be. You can't fight and win when you don't know the enemy. Devil strategic in every way for the chosen. It's no New York, it's God will expose them. No side protection in Yahweh. They hating my dress code, I'm hating their mind state. They living in bondage, cut off from divine grace. I'm looking in God's face, proving the lies that the witches devise against children of God, because jealousy lives in her heart and it's ripping apart everything that she dreams she could be. In the spotlight of evil and envy, their souls will be empty when facing the God of creation. The ending is near. The soldiers are here, seeking the grace in the face of our fears. Face of our fears. Face of our fears. Yeah, we in the last days. Got my God, but we open in them pathways. We change the way we look at things we look at change. Said the people inherit the earth. God's grace, yeah. We living in them last days. Got my God, but we open in them pathways. They change the way we look at things we look at change. Said the meek will inherit the earth through God's grace. God's grace. We living in the last days. Got my God, but we open in them pathways. We change the way we look at things we look at change. Said the meek will inherit the earth through God's grace. God's grace. We living in the last days. What's up, y'all? I apologize for the background noise. There is a generator running, and it's running for a reason. Um, this is the place that I have in order to share what I have to share with you today. So I hope that it is good enough at this time. It won't be always like this, but this is where I'm at. Um, of course, I'm going to share another reading that I wrote, a meditation based on the things I learned in my walk with God as I came back to myself from the destructive things that was done to me. Now, I do want to, before I get started, I do want to express something that I recently discovered based on more lies that Amanda Bender was doing in order to cover her tracks from what she has done to me. I recently discovered, and this is not going to be long, but because I know that the people involved are either watching, the people she lied to are either watching, this is very important in order to expose this liar so that she gets what she deserves. Okay, so apparently she's telling people that we had some sort of agreement. The first agreement that she's lying about is an agreement that she could cheat and go behind back and sleep with whoever she wanted to. Okay, so there was no agreement for that, not at all. The agreement was when we were involved in that crazy sexual stuff that we would do everything together in front of each other. That was the agreement. Why would I agree to allowing her to have crazy sexual things involved with other people when I know that she does not like to use protection at all? So therefore, if she doesn't like to use protection, if not, I'm not aware of who she's with or what she's going around doing, then she could probably bring back to me an STD or a disease or something like that. So that's something that I would never agree with. Later on, when things were rocky and basically being destroyed, uh, after I realized that she already was involved with some lover the whole time, and was fed up with the situation, I said maybe she could get a boyfriend or something like that. And she said she'd think about it.
But none of this has to do with her going around telling people we had agreement that she could do all of this behind my back the whole time. No, there was no agreement that she could go behind my back and do anything. There was no agreement that she could stab me in the back with my enemies and have sex with them. There was no agreement that she could plot with them behind my back, and I'm cool with it. There was no agreement of any of these things. The other agreement is that she's going around telling people that she had access to my assets. Now, there was one time when I was incarcerated, not the time that she got me locked up. Well, that's questionable because the car crash and all of that had to do with her. So actually, she had something to do with me getting locked up that time too. I made her power of attorney over my assets so that she could send my check into me that I worked for. I didn't make her power of attorney so that she could take my assets behind my back and share them with the enemies that were plotting against me. That I never agreed to anything like that. And I actually put in the power of attorney that it was going to be temporary, lasting only until I got out of incarceration, where she was collecting assets and doing things with that power of attorney though, way after I got out of being locked up. And I had no idea about it. And also doing things with my money and my assets that had to do with her sharing those things with the people that were lying to her actually. So there was no agreement of any of these things. She's straight lying about it. She's trying to cover her tracks and get people to help her and try to keep a good whatever reputation or keep things on me. But no, I never would agree. Why would I agree that she can have access to my assets and share them with enemies that are plotting on me to try to kill me or harm me or take what I have? Why would I agree to that? No, it was a temporary power of attorney that she did something doctored up or whatever, or somebody that was helping her did, and they tried to collect something else on it, you know. And then and to those people that lied to her, someone apparently created fake receipts and presented them to her in order to convince her to do these things to me. Um, wow, the extent in which they went to. But I needed to expose that because I know that there's going to be people that are going to be watching, and that's valuable information because these are probably lies that she's been telling recently to get people on her side again. There was no agreement for these things. The agreement was that we do everything with each other. We don't do anything away from each other, not even in different rooms. So she's lying about that. And also, the agreement made her a power of attorney because I was thinking she was my wife and I needed money and I didn't want to depend on her for money. So I made her power of attorney so she could send me the money that I worked for so that I could get my assets in prison. She lied about all of that in order to justify what she did. Then had her family go into court and all testify to something that while I was incarcerated or while they were taking the mail from my house, which would have let me know that I was supposed to be in court. And they all went there and they all testified to protect her and lied on behalf in court in order to maintain and gain those assets. So, man, working into whatever I can do right now, the trust that I had for that person caused me to not keep all the paperwork, but I have the receipts. So, uh, eventually, you know, this is over for this person and their family, the Bender family, John Hill, whoever else worked with her, all of you. And you probably already have been experiencing some stuff with your credit and everything else like that because she's a scammer. Whoever worked with her, I guarantee you, if she's down in the dirt and she doesn't have money, she's taken from you. If you want to know why something's wrong with your credit or anything like that, look to the Bender family. I guarantee you. Look into it. You're gonna find something out. And you got to wonder why I'm mentioning her name on here all this time, and they haven't pressed charges against me or anything like that, as if I'm slandering them. Wonder why? Because as soon as they go to the police against that, it's a possibility that people will investigate them. You see? This is the reason why I'm able to mention this person's name this long and nothing has happened to me. They're not going to press charges. They're not going to go to the police and say anything because they have tried to unalive me. And they've left a paper trail of the things that they have done. Stupid. Anyway, okay, so I shared that and I'm off that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the purpose of me sharing these things is to make sure that that person is not able to get any resources from anybody else for the purpose of her seem like I'm obsessed and then stalking me and trying my devices and everything. Whatever money that you give her, she's using in order to do something to me. I guarantee, and it has done for a long time. So that needs to stop because the person is insane. All right, so but now I'm off that, and I like to share with you another chapter of my writings, based on after going through all that terrible stuff. Great morning. I haven't seen you before, so I'm happy to hear from you. And thank you for joining. All right, so this one is called "The Purpose of Our Troubles." I got some great jewels in here, and of course, I go into the Bible with everything that I'm talking about. But a lot of this information is universal, man. Most of this stuff, well, actually, all of this I wrote while I was incarcerated. So you might hear something. If it doesn't make sense, it might have something to do with the people I was talking to when I was in prison, because I would go into a little side room and I would wait for people to come. And every now and then, there will always be some young man or somebody that would come in there and they would talk to me about the issues. And then I would tell them, "You feel like listen to me read something that I have here?" And they would say, "Yeah." And then I would read these things that I'm reading to you now. And then they would go away and they would say, "I feel like you was talking to me. Thank you." And before long, the whole little side room that the PO let me use, that the CO let me use, was filled with men. And it got so deep that there was men outside of it sitting on the floor. And this was in Jessup County. If anybody was in Jessup County with me back then, they could verify that. Um, they was calling me preacher man. Yeah, they used to make fun of me when I was in my other incarcerated time. When I did that almost 20 years, a lot of the young men used to laugh at me and they would call me Farrakhan Vic. And you say, hopefully you have all exhibits marked. Hopefully. One thing, I mean, so long ago, I was in the law library fighting against that old case against Stephanie Santangelo because she, once again, was trying to accuse me of things more than what I actually did, her being a narcissist as well. And I'm not saying that I didn't do what I did do. But what I'm saying is, if you do something to a narcissist that tries to do something to you, they will go far, far, way beyond try to hurt you. And so I had to fight, which kind of like distorted me from learning what I needed to learn, taking responsibility from what I needed to take responsibility for, because I had to fight against the lies that were added into what happened. And so I had to concentrate on, like, no, no, that didn't happen. This happened. And that caused a distortion of me healing from the pain that I caused, because I couldn't spend time just saying I have remorse. I'm going to work on myself so that I don't ever hurt another person again. I had to fight against somebody who was trying to get me in trouble for more things than what I actually did. And it was crazy. That was crazy. And then this is even more crazy. This person is so much of a liar and doesn't have the truth in them no matter what you do. If they do give the truth, they're only going to give a piece of it. They're never going to tell the whole truth. They will take that to the grave. But Aish, what you got? Got to get out and make good choices. I'm finally about done drinking. Wow, congratulations. Yes, people drink. Haha, jokes. Count all joy. Our lives lead us here with you. Wow, that's vicious in a good way. Ace, take it one day at a time. If you make a mistake and you fall back into it, don't beat yourself up. Don't think it's hopeless. Just get back up and try again. There I am using that word try. And I have to apologize because I told you about using the word try and then I turn around and I use it. So I realize and acknowledge how difficult it is to stop saying that. You know what I mean? But I am working on not doing it. And one of the ways in which I do that is if I mention it when someone else does it, it brings it back to the front of my mind. So it might have been more for me than it was for you that I said that to you. So we try not to say try. That's it. And I guess that's good enough for now. I mean, after a while, we'll get better and we'll get stronger at it. You know, that's so great, Brayla, for congratulating Aish for that. Absolutely, that is a great accomplishment. Take it one day at a time. And if you fall off, don't worry about it. Don't even think bad about yourself. Just do it again. Just get back on and do it again. And if you fall off again, get back on and do it again. Eventually, you'll get stronger each time if you don't lose faith. If you don't beat yourself up for not being perfect. You're not perfect. Don't even worry about it. You're not going to be. But because of the fact that you're trying to do this, that says so much about you. That says so much about you. And I'm so grateful to have you here. I'm proud of you that you've done that. Congratulations for real. We're nothing without support. Absolutely. If no one is there to hear our message, do we even exist? Well, I will say this about that. I do understand where you're coming from. It does seem like it's pointless if no one hears the message. But I will say this, you hear your message. The first person you're talking to anytime you talk is to yourself. And also, God hears it. And there are energetic frequencies that are opened up by you keep staying with your message. People receive your message on a vibrational dimension. And it means it's felt. And people that are not woke, they will not identify exactly what is felt, but the message that you walk with and keep inside of you and keep hope and faith with, I guarantee you, those people that you run into that are on those frequencies will eventually see something in you. They'll be like, something about you. You see what I'm saying? So there's always a reason to keep your message. There's always a reason to keep going. Bars. Yeah, yeah. Buddhism, they try to unlearn something every day. They even say try. It's not a bad thing to attempt to do better. Rich mentality. Wow. That's a channel, yo. Rich mentality. You should start a channel called Rich Mentality and put my videos on there. Along with others. Along with others. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you already did it. Wow. So how did I channel that? I'm saying, all right, so hold on. I want to read this because I think this is deep. Let me set up my situation because I need some pullback because I don't have my glasses with me right now. Even though I don't normally need them, but every now and then. All right, so the purpose of our troubles. James chapter 1, verses 2 through 8. I'm not reading them, but you can check them out. In these verses, James talks about the benefit of having troubles. He says, because troubles test your faith. And in this way, we learn to be patient, mature, and complete. Learning to be patient is like being happy in the middle of sorrow and pain. It's having a positive outlook when there appears nothing to be positive about. This is patience. Let me read what you had to say, Ish. I had a channel with like 400 subs, but I deleted it because it felt complaining. Mm, okay, well, maybe it's time to start another one. It takes faith to be patient because you don't know when your patience will be rewarded. You don't know how long you should be patient for. And that's really the whole point. Patience is an act of faith that shows your confidence and commitment to what God says. Patience is an act of faith that shows your confidence and commitment to what God says. James goes on to say that if you need wisdom, just ask God for it because he is generous. But here he gives us a precaution as well. He says, but when you ask, you must believe if you really want to receive what you ask God for. Doubt means you are thinking at least two opposing thoughts at the same time. Doubt means you're thinking at least two opposing thoughts at the same time. That's why the confusion. That's why the indecisiveness. Doubt ultimately means you haven't decided what to do yet, which is actually a decision to choose doubt. Doubt is like a worry that you keep thinking about until you can't relax and you have to find an escape. Doubt is a lack of commitment and a lack of direction. How much confidence can you have in something you have doubts about? How much faith can you have if you have no confidence? How much work will you put into something you don't have much faith in? I remember waking up one morning, and after I prayed and read scriptures and I ate something, I laid back down and tried to sleep. But something wouldn't let me rest. The accuser was at work on my mind. This was the trouble James spoke of. I kept thinking about someone who hurt me a lot with their words and actions. My mind wouldn't stop reliving the pain. It led to bitterness. It led to my bitterness being reawakened. At that moment, I had forgotten what God said. He said he would protect me. He said, if I find him, I will be free indeed. He said, my faith will save me. He said, if I call on him, he would be there for me. But I had to believe he could and would do these things. I had to have confidence in him. But when those thoughts overwhelmed me, I forgot about God's promises and became more and more bitter. Seeds of doubt were being planted in my mind by the accuser I could not see. Because this time, the accuser was me. I forgot that God said, I will be forgiven, but only if I forgive. And that I will have to forgive 70 times 7. That many times, which really means I was to keep forgiving forever. Remember, everything in the Bible is metaphorical. It's not for you to use your logical mind and take it logically, especially if God is speaking. The meaning behind what God says carries dimensions because he doesn't think like us, you see. So there are so many dimensions in which you are supposed to gather and receive from the things that God says, not just one. The lowest way of interpreting what God says is using your logic. Even though it is an interpretation, but it's the lowest of all of them. Hear me. I didn't realize that I may have to forgive the same offense again every time it pops up in my mind. I didn't know that this is the process of true forgiveness. The process. Forgiveness is a process, meaning that you have to forgive over and over again until it becomes normalized to you, until it changes a pattern in your brain. Do you know that when a new thought is introduced into your brain that you actually believe and receive and embrace, your brain literally changes shape? Literally. Literally, your brain moves around and changes shape because you embrace a new idea. Research it. Don't take my word for it. What do you got, Aish? I decided what to do. I'm just waiting for the win. Pray your escape be not in the winter. That's having Game of Thrones imagery toward to me. All right, so let me continue. When these hurts show up inside and wreck our peace, it's time to forgive again. So I did, and it wasn't enough. I still couldn't get rid of the bitterness. So I began to pray for them and ask God to bless them with the great things life has to offer. I know that's hard to hear, but I was experimenting with trying to figure out ways to make this forgiveness thing work. I was experimenting on why the way I was doing it wasn't working for me. I decided that I was going to try different ways to see what would happen. You know, I was experimenting with my own spiritual frequencies. Ace says, it's been hurtful looking around for other Christians and everyone is just saying, go, 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 do it. When God says, be still and know I am God. Yes, right. The more that you connect with the Lord, the more that you will know when it's time for you to do what you need to do. But in the season of waiting, not waiting, being patient for that drive to hit you, you need people around you that understand and support you. Because you may be in a season where you're just gathering more information up from different sources and then embracing that and eating it. And then when you do come out, you've had all this stuff that you've devoured that feed your soul and your spirit, so that when you do come out with your channel or you do come out with whatever you're going to come out with, all those things will be in there and incorporated in a way where it is you. It's not them. It's not you copying off of them. It's not you taking from them. It's just little pieces that God put into you. You add that to what you have. You put it all together. You make it a recipe, and that's your own soup. See what I'm saying? Every soup is made from the same ingredients. You see what I'm saying? But when you put your own stamp on it, that's how you make it yours. And I like some of these people out there that basically paste and label your whole thing and put it on another channel and then try to act like it's theirs. I've had that happen to me too. I was at the Stone and snow was coming down. And the guy made a joke about freezing to death or something. And that was pretty wild. Yeah. People are insensitive. But every time something like that comes our way, we're reintroduced to our strength. Remember that. Sometimes those things come our way because we forgot how strong we were. But when we look at how we handled it, don't we remember how strong we are? Wow, I didn't even react this and any other to that. Back in the day, I would have reacted like that. Wow, that's the reason why God let it happen. Because I forgot myself. To proceed. After I prayed for them, it was then that suddenly I understood everything. This is God's love. Because isn't that what God would do to those people that blaspheme him, to those people that hate him, to those people that try to do things that would hurt him, attack or cause harm to what he loves? What would God do to those? He would bless them. He would forgive them over and over until time ran out. But while there's still time, he would. He would keep a door open from a distance, maybe. But then again, he is God, so it's not like us. We have to keep a distance. They can't hurt God. So it's different. It's different with him. He says, I was just thinking we do more wrong in fear of the future than we do in love. I agree with that. I don't know if that made sense. Absolutely, it made sense. But like, if we fear the future, that's what makes us do wrong sometimes. We need love. Yeah. Fear of the future. People fearing that they're not going to have enough money in the future causes people to rob people. Fear of people being hurt in the future causes people to hurt the person they're in a relationship with because they think they're going to hurt them later on, or either reject someone because they're afraid that in the future they're going to hurt them. Or people may leave a job because they're afraid that they're never going to get the raise or the promotion in the future, when in actuality, maybe they would have, you know, or fear that people are not going to make enough money in something that they want to endeavor in doing. So therefore they go another way and they say, nah, I'm not going to invest my time in that because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Love destroys that fear and builds faith and hope and motivation. Does that make sense? Yeah. And some people right before a breakthrough happens, they will abandon ship right before a breakthrough happens. This happens a lot, a lot. Faith is rewarded. It is. But we punish ourselves with fear. That's because faith, the reward for faith doesn't come right away. It's not an instant gratification faith. And we get tired of waiting. Waiting is not the same as being patient. Waiting has no positivity connected to it. Waiting doesn't have a positive attitude connected to it. It has a I'm tired of waiting attitude added to it. Whereas patience keeps positive. Patience is waiting with a positive mental attitude. Once you wait and you leave the positive mental attitude, you have left patience. This is the power of Jesus, this grace. I prayed that they receive what they don't deserve. I prayed this when I was bitter and unforgiving, but I just wanted the pain to stop. And when I gave grace, mercy opened up. Forgiveness suddenly became easier. Doubt subsided. My double mindedness was changed to a singular focus. God can help me. In that moment, I believed. In that moment, I stopped accusing them. And when I let go of my accusations, even though they were justified, the accuser let go of me. I opened up my Bible and read these verses James wrote. I realized I needed to share this with my Christian brotherhood. My faith was being tested. I now see that the accuser has some very creative ways to test our faith. It's whenever troubles enter our lives, troubles test faith. I remember being too proud to admit that troubles can be as small as losing a game or even the battles during the game. Troubles can be when someone disagrees with me and I'm right. Troubles can be when someone embarrasses me in front of my peers, but I keep it to myself so no one knows it but me. Troubles can be feeling like someone tried to play me. Troubles can be being put on the spot or being asked a question you don't know the answer to, or dealing with someone who thinks they know everything. All these are troubles. Troubles can be when someone doesn't show up on time or doesn't keep their word. Troubles can be when someone doesn't notice how important something is to you, or this is for prison, or you're silly, farting or snoring, or not having good hygiene. Troubles can be talking to someone with bad breath, or someone who butts into your conversations without asking, or someone who thinks because they're your friend that you owe them something. Troubles can be a long line for the shower, prison again, a missed phone call, someone not answering you when you call their name, someone forgetting your birthday, or sometimes troubles can simply be the holiday seasons. So now we have a good idea about how little things can also be troubles. Let's go back to what James says about these in verses 2 through 4. If you read it, it will be very beneficial. I see here that I can turn these troubles into an opportunity to increase the power of God in my life by building my faith in times of troubles. I do this by following his advice for me, listening to what he says in the Bible, and using this advice in real time situations I face every day. Because the truth is, probably 90% of our daily troubles are small things we spend most of our time running from so we don't feel weak. The devil knows we do this and uses it as an opportunity to test our faith, to bring doubt, to bring offense, confusion, separation. He hates God and knows that the best way to hurt God is to hurt us. But God says whatever they intend for evil, he can use it for good. But we have to believe the power God has to change our lives is only limited to our faith and imagination. We have to dare to imagine that God, Yahweh, has the ability to release us, change us, better our conditions, better our circumstances. This is how we fight the doubt. We read, okay, let me see. I'll stop here to see what you say from me, Aish. And that picture be messing me up. I think the other day you said your name is Kelly, and so the picture be blown, But let me see. I feel like faith was rewarded, but we punish ourselves with fear. How do I say this? We can wait, be rewarded. It's, oh, is right, Kelly. But you know that your icon picture is a guy, right? Are you female or are you male? Oh, oh, say, yeah, I know that guys' names are Kelly. But I needed to ask to clarify so that I know, so I understand. Okay, I got you. No problem. Got you. All right, so let me see. I'm going to read what you said. Okay. And relapse back into impatience and unfaithfulness. Right. Troubles can be doing 10 months when the Bible says 10 days. Yeah. Yeah. The times that the Bible say, they usually represent a different time frame, but you have to do your research to know that. Imagine being free, unashamed, unafraid. Okay. Got it. Good stuff. Let me continue on. We read the Bible, we pray a lot, we read the Bible, we pray a lot, and we fellowship with true Christians that love God and have a positive disposition, which shows their own faith in God at work in their lives. Sometimes I used to hate the way I thought. I was so tired of ruining all my opportunities, always messing up when I had the chance to win. But today, I realized that that wasn't me. That was the accuser attacking me because I was empty. I wasn't filled up with anything but indecision and doubts. But today, I have decided and chosen a path. And today, I love myself because I know the Lord loves me unconditionally. I know that God loves me unconditionally. And there's no one that can change my mind about that. I don't care how many evil, selfish attacks that people try to do to me to say, "Where's your God now?" You'll never change my opinion or my stance about God loving me. And as long as God loves me, and I know that God is stronger than you, whoever you are out there, then that means that you can do nothing. And I fear no man, not one. And I fear no death, not any kind. And I fear no persecution, because I know that when I speak against that persecution that's false, I know that the power of the Holy Spirit is going to guide me to say the right things that are going to exonerate me, just like the exoneration that's happening now. After years of being slandered behind my back, false receipts being presented to people, people in high places that have connections and the ability to do vicious things to people's computer things and all this other type of stuff, all of it's being cleared out. All of it's being cleared out. A family, an organization against me, just me. And look at me now. They're all going down in the name of Jesus, and not to hurt them, but for justice to be served so that they can understand that their false belief in Christ is now going to awaken the truth that God indeed is real, that people indeed do get what they deserve, that people are indeed blessed with gifts from God that can overcome evil, that the devil is nowhere near as powerful as God. And in retrospect, you cannot be more powerful than someone who believes in God. You know? So there are people that you may surround yourself around, and these people have negative entities connected to them. And this is one of the reasons why that person, who I'm not even sure is my ex wife or not, the person who tried to scam me and work against me, the sleeping around with all these other men, unprotected, constantly on a regular basis, bringing so many demonic entities inside of them. And the people that are swingers and they do these type of things, they don't really know the background of the people that they're having intercourse with, even though they check them out and find out that they are not having a disease physically, but they may have a spiritual disease. So, can you imagine this woman that constantly has sex with people unprotected and also was a glorified call girl or prostitute to get money and slept with people unprotected, you know, and then finds a nice guy so that if she ever does get an STD, and because she had one and she knew that she had one and was still sleeping with people unprotected for money and just figured I could just say that he gave it to me. People like that need a scapegoat, you know, someone, if things go wrong, they can put it on. But the thing is, the whole reason why that person was in that energy was because she had so many demonic attachments from the molestation that happens as a child, that's unprotected. From the people that made her believe they were real and just were using her for sex, that's unprotected. And then she has a child or she's pregnant. What do you think that child's going to come out to be like with all those energies in her? Every last one of those energies, a piece of it is going to attach to that child. This is the reason why women are discouraged from doing the same sexual act that men do, because men are going into a woman, whereas the woman is receiving it inside of her. It's just the way she was made. It's different. The entities are sitting inside of her, and this is the reason why women are discouraged from doing the same thing men are doing, because you are inviting it into you. You know, we have to stop thinking about what's fair and what's not fair. Women are not supposed to do the same thing men do because they are held at a higher regard. The sanctity of them, the preciousness of them is held more precious. And the reason why is because they bring life into the world. They're not supposed to do what men do. They're supposed to be held on a higher level, but not just because you're a woman. You can't just be walking around thinking I'm better than men. No matter what you do, it's based on what you do that puts you in that reverence area. It's based on how you carry yourself that puts you in that reverence area. It's based on how you respect your body. It's based on how you respect others. It's based on the love and all of that you give to others, that nurturing, because you're naturally a nurturer, because it was put in you those abilities so that you would be a good mother, a good raiser of people. It was naturally put in that because you have to carry that seed in you for 9 whole months. It's part of your makeup. And now you're thinking, well, men get to do this. We should get to do it too. You just lowered your reverence because you want to compete. You're looking at it like a competition and thinking that it's fair if you are able to do what men do, but you don't have a penis. You're not going into someone. Someone is going into you over and over again, so many different without any protection. Do you understand what you are doing? You are no longer, once you do that all those times, it's unfair depending on how you look at it. I think it's unfair that you even have the ability to lower your reverence. Your reverence should be maintained because it's your greatness. It's part of your greatness. It's part of your sanctity. It's a part of the reason why you're so cherished. But you're looking at it as a unfairness that you were made this way, made to be revered, made to be a sanctity for the family, made to be the nurturer, made to be the one that carries emotional nourishment for the family. So you just want to do the same thing men do, but you're not a man. Perfect example. You know that a woman can say to a man, she can say, I'm more man than you. And you'll still be with that woman. In fact, some women will actually get respected for saying that, for the things that they can do that are like a man. Let's reverse that. Will a man get respect from the woman if he says, I'm more woman than you? If he has more womanly traits than the woman that he's with, will that woman respect him? Let's look at it. Let's look at the elephant in the room. She can say, I'm more man than you. And then all the girls give her a high five. And then you might even say, oh, okay, I'll get on top of that. I see what you're saying. And you still love her and you still want to be with her and everything like that. You actually like her toughness. But if the man says, I'm more woman than you, is that woman going to say, oh, okay. I like your womanness. You see, that's not fair. There's so many things. It's not just that things are not fair for women versus men. They're not fair for men versus women. It's just there's a balance that ends up happening at the end of the day. But some people just want to look at the one-sided. There's no, you can't be a manly man who has a woman that, likes manly men and say to that woman, I'm more woman than you, and be respected. But a woman can say to you, I'm more man than you, and still be respected. So see, women do have privileges that men won't ever have. They don't want to acknowledge the power that they had. They want more. Let me not acknowledge the power that I have that's already more than a man will ever have. Let me seek more. And I'm not talking about every woman. I'm not talking about every woman. And I can talk about the things that men are doing that are bad too. Yes. You know what I'm saying? There is not, by acknowledging what a woman does not negate what a man does. Please understand that. And if a man is talking about what a woman does, it doesn't mean that he's trying to bash or hate women. It may actually mean that he experienced these things and he's tired of people not addressing them, because they need to be addressed too. All of it needs to be addressed. All of it. There's something that we're not looking at. The first human being on the earth that was revered, if you go as far back as possible, is a woman. It's a woman. The first statue made of a human being on this earth was a woman. Women have always been revered. Men have put them above them. Ever since man saw the trees and the moon and the sun and said, that's God. That's God. This is crazy. And started worshiping that. And then suddenly they saw a baby come out of a woman. Can you imagine early mankind discovering that the woman brings a life out of her? They probably immediately stop looking at the sun. They probably immediately stop looking at the stars. They probably immediately stop looking at the trees, and they start bowing down to her. It was the greatest, most powerful, wonderful thing ever, and put her on a pedestal that no one else could reach, because there was no man that could do it. Today, women take it for granted and use that ability to trap a man or to get money. Not every woman. Not every woman. Of course. Of course. But this is something that actually does need to be addressed. It does. There's an elephant in the room, and we don't want to talk about it. And men are so afraid that they're not going to get any sex that they don't want to say anything. anything. You got men on here, and all they're doing is doing YouTube channels about how men are hurting women, when there needs to be an equilibrium. Yes, there needs to be a lot addressed about how men are hurting women, because men are. But there needs to be addressed how women are hurting men too, because the ratio of men to women on earth is at least 4-1. There's at least 4 times more women on earth than there is men. Check it. Check the ratio. And if it's not 4, I guarantee you it's at least 3. The ratio I'm looking at was from years ago when I checked. But I don't think that the population decreased. And I explained this before. The reason why this is, for anybody who wants to understand it, it's because in the old times, the early times, only men were fighting war. And even today, women are still minority in military. It's still majority men. And when men fight war, they die. They die by the hundreds of thousands, which means that there's going to be a shortage. And many of those men are good, strong men, the type of men that would be good supporters, the type of men that would be powerful, the type of men that are strong, that are sturdy, and they die. So what's left is a bunch of, not all of them, not all the men, but there's to be a bunch of cowards left. You know what I mean? A bunch of deadbeat men left. A bunch of men that are not strong enough or not willing to go fight for their country or do things like this or even stand up for themselves. So the women are going out there looking, and they're finding that the men are slim pickings. And this was one of the reasons that led to women accepting being with a man, marrying a man that already had another wife. Because those men that had wives back in those times were rich, they were able, they were leaders, they were powerful, they had much supporters, and the children that the woman had with that child would have a better chance of growing into something great, having a stable life, and all these other type things, even spiritual. So that played a lot into why polygamy was big back then. It wasn't about like what it is now. Like you might see a lot of Muslims, they want to get another wife because they have enough money to, but really they just want to have sex. They just want to have a lot of options sexually. You know what I'm saying? Like, or just to feed their ego about something. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same as it was back then. There are more choices of men. Well, there's always going to be slim pickings for women as far as men, because there's always way more women. There's always way more women. And this is the reason why women, a lot of times, not all of them, will entice men to cheat on their spouse or in their relationship, because there's a lot of women out there that can't find a good man, because there's a shortage. There's always a shortage of men. There is. There's not enough men in the world for every last woman. Check the ratio. If every last woman was paired with every last man, there would be a bunch of women that don't have one because of war. Because of war. Because war lowers the population of men that exist in the world. Think about it. This will motivate women that want to have a good man to try to entice a man to go away from the woman they're with. Why do you think a lot of women don't like each other and stuff like this? And then they look at themselves and they think they're bad. You know what I mean? They just steal your man and all this other type of stuff. All of these are fruits coming from war. From war. War is the problem. War is the problem. Think about it. It is the problem connected to the reason why many women will go into the escort business, the prostitute business, will entice a man to leave, to be with her and leave her person. Women will stab each other in the back because she is lonely. She wants love too. She wants someone for herself too. But the ratio of men to women is at least 3 to 1. So some women are not going to have a man. This is one of the reasons why polygamy came into being. Us as a society, we don't accept these ideas as being something that's right, and whatever the cause of things being corrupted or mixed up or messed up, we don't address. We put band-aids on things. This problem will never be 100% solved. Religion doesn't even address it. Religion doesn't even address it. But if you can find some way to prove this argument wrong, or what I'm saying, give me the information. I'd love to talk to you about it. I'd love to understand how this can be solved. I'd love to understand where we can find a solution or inform everyone, because I truly believe this has a lot to do with the cheating, the infidelity, and all these other type of things. I believe it has something to do with the treachery among women against other women. It's the quality of men that are at a shortage because of war, because of men dying, because of the ratio of men to women in the world. Yeah, one for the other is not the situation. Yeah. It's just something interesting to think about that we don't seem to talk about. I haven't heard anything on any channel, in any station, anywhere that discusses this situation in this way. Never. I've never heard it discussed. In small, dark areas where no one is paying attention, maybe. You say men need to change. They have to file everything good. Love, are you a woman or a man? Love Cats 889. Are you a woman or a man? The reason why I ask is because it's perfectly understandable that women that have been hurt by men would develop the idea that men are the problem in the world, especially if you've been hurt by men. But what would you say to a man who has never hurt a woman? I'm not saying me, but I'm just saying if there was one, what would you say to a man who has never hurt a woman that all they've experienced is women hurting them, is women hurting him? What if he came out and said, the problem with the world was women? You see, what you're saying may be based on hurt and what you have seen men do that cause harm either directly or indirectly to you or those you care about. But there are also women who have targeted men that have not done anything to them, and actually men that have sound judgment, or either developed it and decided to go in a direction that will be beneficial to society. And they've targeted those men to try to hurt them based on the idea that men ruin everything. So now they just see a man and they don't pay attention to if that man deserves to be seen that way. and they attack. See, we live in a world where a God exists. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that everything has happened for a reason. That also means that there is no separating who's good or bad based on a sex. Men are not worse than women. And if you believe that men are worse than women, you may be the problem. Because what you're doing is you're carrying bitterness inside of you, resentment inside of you. You're not thinking realistic or seeing things realistically. You're seeing things through the rose-colored glasses of your personal experiences, and you're going to decide to put that out to the world. And because you want other people to feel the way you feel. But what if the other people have experienced men in a different way? There are women that are married to men that have not, and those men have not done anything wrong to them, and they love them to death. There are marriages where a man and woman today, you can find them, they were married for 30, 40, 50 years, and that man has treated that woman great the whole marriage. There are men in businesses, in societies, in religions, in organizations that have not stepped on anybody, that have not hurt anybody, that have not disrespected anybody, or tried their best not to, that have just tried to help advance the world in a positive way. What would you say about those men? What did they do to you? What did they do that would make you say men need to change? They have defiled everything good. What about those men? The man that has cherished his wife for 30, 40, 50 years, did nothing but took care of her. What about the man that has took care of her and his kids and raised a family, and all his kids have good things to say about him? His wife has good things to say about him. He's left a business and an organization after he dies to his family. He's raised kids that have all been in college. What about that man? You said men need to change. They have defiled everything good. That's all of us. Why would you want to spread that hate? That's a lie. That is a lie. Love Cats 889. That's a straight lie. So it makes sense that you wouldn't respond again. So, God is in charge of this world, you know what I'm saying? So, and if men are the problem, I have to say this once again. Why are you on here looking at a man talk? If I'm part of defiling everything good, why would you come on here and watch a man? Still no response. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, that's all I want to go right now. I just want to say to everybody, we had to think outside of the box. We can't see the world as is if we're seeing things as we are in our current state, in our current situation, and based on the situations we've been through in life. We can't be 30 years old and expect that we know everything about everyone else in the world. There are those of us that have met 5,000 of the opposite sex, maybe 10,000. 10,000. We may even say that we know. I know 10,000 women, I could say. Or I might find a woman that says, I know at least 10,000 men. You know them, like really deeply know them. Like there were some people that will actually say, yeah, I'm 30-something years old and I know 10,000 men. All right, so if you know 10,000 men and you're basing your opinion on men on those 10,000 men that you know, do you know that 10,000 men is not even 1% of the men in the world? If I say I know 10,000 women and I'm 40, okay, I know 10,000 men. I know them. Like I had specific conversations with them, probably been intimate with them, talked to them. I could talk about their character. I know their family. I know them, right? Know their history. Okay. You want to say you know them. Okay. This is knowing someone. So I know 10,000 women, right? Let's hypothetically speaking. And I want to base what I think about women on those 10,000 women, right? 10,000 is not even 1% of the population of the women in the world. I would be lying. And I would be lying to myself because I'm sitting in some pain and I'm hurt and I want other people to hurt too. I want to hurt other women or I want to hurt other men. And the best way to do that, because I know that I'm not powerful enough to hurt them all, is to try to spread some propaganda without any facts or knowledge behind it that will make other people hate them. Am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? Am I actually helping men be better? Those men, those small percentage of men that I've met or know? Or am I helping other people to doubt about maybe some good man that they might run into? Am I causing them to possibly doubt another man? Am I spreading something that will lead to a solution, or am I spreading something that will lead to the problem? The words we say out of our mouth are very influential, powerful, and important. And we just spew anything out, we become part of the problem. We have to heal. We have to heal. And we have to be able to talk about difficult things. And when people talk about the difficult thing, we can't take offense, especially if we're not directly connected to the difficult things that are being talked about. You take offense to something that I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about you, that tells me everything about you. Everything. And it had nothing to do with me. Something wrong with you. So I would say that you need to heal yourself. I would say that you need to think uh, better about yourself first. Um, because if you think that you're okay with thinking the way you're thinking, you're actually hurting yourself with that idea. What it means is that if a good man ever comes your way, you're going to reject him. You're going to lie to him. You're going to try to control him. You're going to try to manipulate him. You're going to try to belittle him. You're going to try to put him down. And it may be the man that could change your mind about men. And you'll do all those things. And you'll hurt that man maybe so much that that man will lose his innocent heart. He'll lose his positivity, that he's different, that he can make people see that something different about men. He'll lose all of that by meeting you. And then he'll lose faith in women because he met you. And then you'll be able to say you're right because he will become just like you. That's right. It's not about blaming men. It's not about blaming women. No, Ace, you're wrong too. We don't switch it and then say women need to come to God. No, that's not what we're doing here. No, no. All need to come to God. But it's not about one did something over the other. No. You can say that Eve brought Adam the apple. You can say Eve brought Adam the apple, but Adam was supposed to know better. He's supposed to ask more questions. He was supposed to be stronger. He was supposed to use his discernment. He did not. He did not use his discernment. He followed. That doesn't make him more wrong than her. No, they both messed up. They both messed up. They both did wrong. They both basically set each other up because Adam was supposed to be the one to tell Eve, let's think about this. Let me come here and talk to you. Put that down and let's talk. Adam was supposed to do that. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. So I would venture to say that Adam, because he had more power at the time, he's more in the wrong. I mean, I would just, I don't think that we're looking at that the correct way. So this is not about, but you're going into something else. You're going into something else. What I want to address is what we were talking about earlier about men and women being wrong. And I want to point the fingers at men and women. None of this is about pointing the fingers. However, there does need to be an argument addressed about what women do, just like there needs to be an argument addressed about what men do. There needs to be both arguments addressed. This is not about saying something more wrong about women than men. I had been in a narcissistic energy years ago and I didn't go as far as this person did, but I did some pretty bad things to hurt people. I did. And then it took 20 years before I was able to come out of it. And I was actually forced to come out of those energies and those thoughts. I was forced. I went to prison and I was forced into it. If I wasn't into it, I might have been just like them. So I'm not here trying to put men on a pedestal over women, but I'm not going to let anybody put men down either. But I'm not going to let anybody put women down either. I'm not. We're not going to put women down. We're not going to put men down. Now, if we're talking about specific women that have done something, specific groups of women that have done something, we'll talk about it. If we're talking about specific men that done something, we'll talk about that. But when we want to generalize men need to do this and women need to do that, y'all can all get off. Because we're not doing that. That's from the resentment, bitterness, possible hate. There's no forgiveness in that. There's no God in that. There's accusation. And do you know the name of accuser? The ancient name of accuser? The ancient name of accuser is Satan. Satan literally means accuser. And okay, Ace, I see you want to twist my words and say because I'm not accusing a whole sex of women, you want to say everybody's innocent? No possible way that you could interpret what I'm saying as that. You're really acting ignorant. So I'm done with you and you won't be on next time. All right. So I'm going to end it right here. I thank you for joining me and listening to what I have to say. I appreciate you. And for anybody that got something good out of this situation, that was from God and it wasn't from me. For anything that I said wrong, that was from me and it's something I need to work on and I'll get on top of it. I hope that everybody can look at what was being said here with an open mind and an open heart and does not take it in the wrong way. We're not here to spread bitterness, resentment, or hate. But there are things that happen to people that have to do with women, and there are things that happen to people that have to do with men. And we can address them here individually and directly. And we can also talk about God because God is watching this conversation. God is hearing everything that we're talking about. God is seeing everything we're talking about. And he knows when we understand, and he knows that when we're not trying to understand. So this is not about us. This is about us trying to build a relationship with him. My mission statement: treat people good, give God his props, and be your authentic self regardless of what anybody thinks. Y'all have a good day. Oh, and I have a video coming out pretty soon too. Working on something new and special. You already know what it is, and I'm gonna be back. Holla at me.